Okay, good morning and welcome to Anne's morning meditation. So, this morning we are looking at anxiety, and anxiety is a complex topic. It ties into uh, uh, feelings of powerlessness, it ties into not feeling good enough, it ties into self sabotage, and it ties into the trauma state of flight, fright, and freeze. So anxiety really has the capacity to rob us of a lot of our joy and a lot of our presence in our day-to-day life. So, and we are living through anxious times. We have not only the coronavirus, we have Brexit happening, we have the American elections happening, and there's a huge amount of uncertainty around the future. Um, even in terms of the environment, in terms of politics, economics, everything's very uncertain. And so, it's a trauma that we're experiencing. And what happens with trauma is that it taps into previous trauma. So at the moment, people might be concerned about whatever aspects of lockdown and um, whatever's going on in the moment. But the anxiety that taps into is very, very often for people. In fact, it is older anxieties. It's older anxiety, so it's feeding into ghosts and relics of the past. And so we're going to look at that today. So, since it's Halloween and a time for confronting ghosts, the ghost we're going to look at is anxiety. And so I've been looking at this myself in this past week or two. And, it's one of the advantages of this particular time is that many of the distractions have been stripped away. So we have an opportunity to really look at the bare bones of things and to see without distraction what is going on in the mind, in the emotional world, and in the self. And I think I'm a great believer that there's the best thing we can do, any of us, for the world, is to address our own demons, our own fears, our own insecurities. So, anxiety is one that it's it's almost like having mice in the house. It multiplies and it finds little corners where it can't be seen, and will pop out in the dead of night or at inopportune moments. Okay, so what do we do about it? Well, first thing we do, as ever, bring ourselves home. Bring ourselves home, because anxiety and all of these things, all of these residues of trauma, they scatter the self off the center. They scatter ourselves off the center. And if you think about, how we are if we're in a highly anxious state, we're knocked off our solid base, our solid core. We become all over the place, fractured. And okay, so what we do, first thing we do, and this is what we're doing to get those mice out from in underneath the behind the skirting boards. So we're going to really look at anxiety that's both in the present time and also historic anxiety that perhaps we've become so accustomed to that we forget that it doesn't have to be there in the backgrounds of our lives. So first thing to do is to become aware of it. So to notice when these feelings arise. And it might be in relation to a person or a situation. There's certainly people and situations that trigger our anxiety. We all know people in situations like that. But these feelings, The thing is to notice these feelings, to become aware of what it feels like, because these feelings will pop up completely unrelated to any situation as well. So they like the mice that are running around behind the sofa or whatever. So the first thing is to recognize it and recognize the physical feeling. And we say this again and again in these Monday meditations, that we bring our attention back into the body. We feel it. What does it feel like? What is the physical sensation? So we just take a few moments, just noticing the physical sensations that are associated with anxiety. Not to be afraid, to just sit with that feeling, to approach it with a sense of curiosity, really, rather than anywhere else. Say, okay, where do I feel this? Do I feel it in my toes? Do I feel it in my feet? Do I feel it in my lower legs or knees, thighs? Perhaps feel it around my hips or buttocks, abdomen or lower back. Perhaps I can feel it around my rib cage, between my ribs, or in around my shoulders, maybe behind my shoulder blades, the muscles in the top of the shoulders, the upper arms, elbows, lower arms, wrists, palm of the hands. We might notice up the spine, right up, traveling up the spine. And one of the things that we can do straight away is just to extend the spine slightly. We can do this anytime we feel uncomfortable or anxious over the course of the day. We can just consciously do this, just stretch the spine a little, to give each of the vertebrae a little more space so that these feelings can't get trapped. Because there are times when it's absolutely appropriate to feel anxious or feel afraid, but what we don't want is for those to get lodged in the body, as they do, and they can stay there for decades. They can stay there for a whole lifetime. So we're just going to stretch the spine slightly and let all of that come out from between the vertebrae. We're going to breathe a few nice deep breaths. And we're going to move, this is very important, we're going to move our hands and feet. We're going to move our fingers, move our toes. Move the fingers, move the toes. And we move the fingers, move the arms slightly, move the legs slightly, move the abdomen, shoulders, stretching out behind the shoulder blades. Move the head a little on the neck. Finally, we're going to scrunch up the face, move the whole face. So scrunch up the face and let it relax. Just move the face around a bit. And just basically what we've done is we've just got everything moving, because if things are moving, then it's impossible for them to stagnate. And it's the same with feelings, just as it's the same in everyday life. With a body of water, we are essentially a body of water. So, okay, so having just moved a little bit, just bring the awareness back to the breathing, back to feeling where we are at this moment in time. Feel our feet on the floor. Just have a sense of extension from the soles of the feet, through the body and up through the top of the head. We just sit with that. And we do this on repeat. So anytime these feelings come up, when we remember, and it's really about training ourselves to remember to do this. And meditation, it's a practice, and this is part of the practice. Part of the practice is to be aware of when we're feeling these either current or residual feelings. We can use this time. And especially at the moment when we have so few distractions. We have this space, we have head space, and we don't have too much to be doing. We can really use this time. And we can use it well. And it'll stand us in very good stead. But it's setting up a practice. So because we do this once, and it helps a bit at the time, but it's going to come back. Something that's been there for 40 years doesn't disappear in one session. But change happens with the first time we do this. It creates change, and it creates like a domino effect. And all we have to do then is bring our awareness back to know that we can do this when we feel like this. Move our fingers, we move our toes, move our arms and legs a little, move the spine, neck, head and face, stretch the rib cage, and feel that extension from the soles of the feet to the top of the head. And so I wish you a very nice week ahead. And I want to wish you no anxiety, but at the same time, it's such a great opportunity to work with these things that one would almost hope for a little anxiety, so that we can so that we can really do this work on ourselves, which I think is probably our ultimate human calling. Okay, so thank you very much, and I'll see you next week. Goodbye.